Well, welcome to my studio. I had a portrait studio here about 35 years ago and just recently decided to kind of resurrect it just for personal use. And I had sold all my backgrounds. And what I want to do in this video is try and see what video light works. I thought, well, I got a studio set up here. I can go ahead and resurrect it and do some talking head videos if I need to, and that requires some kind of video lights. But I want to start with this background. It's just a cheap $35 eBay background, but it wasn't exactly like I wanted. It's supposed to be a 9-foot by I believe 7-foot wide, but it had these columns on the side here, you can kind of see, and I thought it was going to be all the way to the end, that kind of a pattern with a hot spot in the middle, but it wasn't. But it suits my purposes for taking portraits, but just for video it kind of has an abrupt edge there. But we'll see how it goes here. But in my studio, just a room in my basement here, I had put these track lights. So our first video lights is going to be these track lights. I got 3 on this side. I'm going to point them all towards the background. And then I got 3 on the other side here. I'm just shooting, I'm shooting in custom balance, maybe, white balance. So my balance, let me set this up differently on my camera. See how important white balance is. Okay, now see the difference? I put it in auto white balance, running ISO 3200. It's fairly dark in here, even with those bright lights. But what I'm going to do is just shine them through this clear, it's kind of a 5-in-1 kit, this reflector. It's held by a bracket here I just recently purchased. But it's this is kind of a scrim designed to cut out sunlight if you're doing outdoor portraits. But I'm actually going to put the lights through it to give it a more big diffuse light source. So we'll check that out. And I'll white balance it here according to what I think it needs to be. The lights I'm using are just from our Ace hardware store, LED. I did have some incandescent bulbs in here, but whenever you turn them on, after a while, after about a minute, you'd hear them popping, the metal housing around those lights, because of the heat. And I don't have it air conditioned down here, so it can get kind of warm. But these are advertised 650 lumens each. They're soft white, so it'd be a pretty warm light. As you can see in that video, there's like 2700 degrees Kelvin, I believe. May not even say, but it was warm light. So what kind of, it's soft white, yeah, 2700. So that's pretty yellow, about as yellow a light as you'll find. But we'll set that up and we'll take a look how good those lights could look. I zoomed in on the background to where I'm not falling off on either side. And I've got a radio, not a Radio Shack. Well, when's the last time you heard Radio Shack? This is a Harbor Freight meter, and it has a lux meter built into it. And looks like I'm getting about 55 lux, which is fairly low. And then on the, so I have 3 lights shining through this scrim, I'm going to call. And then on the opposite wall here, I ended up turning back 2 of the lights. So there's really only 1 light, track light up there, that's kind of bouncing off the wall. It's not even directly on me. But since it's not going through a scrim, it tends to be about as bright. I'm getting about 53 lux, and here it's about 56. So my face might be fairly evenly lit from side to side. Having to go ISO 6400 on the camera, which is fairly high, but this camera can handle that as far as not creating noise in the picture. But we'll see what that looks like. Oh, and I set the white balance to 2700. So this is what those lights produce directly out without doing any color balance. What I can do, I've got a gray card here. What I can do is use this in the editor. I could also do it with the camera. I could take a picture of it with the camera and set my white balance to this. But we're going to do it in the editor and see if there's any difference. And I'll cut it right now. Okay, now this is the difference in the editor. And see if that light is acceptable. You know, I still might have too much brightness, as I call that the fill light. I can set up a scrim there. Maybe I ought to try that. Okay, now what I did, I put an artboard in front of that light. So the only light I'm getting from this side is bouncing off the white wall of the basement there. And it's only registering now about 25 lux. Remember, I believe 1 lux is 1 foot candle. That'd be like what a candle would put out, 1 foot from the candle. And here it's getting 52 if I point it towards the scrim there. It used to be the early camcorders, they used to rate them in lux, like 7 lux, 25 lux. That might be, but they were very noisy at that level. Whereas this camera, even with a fairly slow lens on it, by slow I mean it doesn't let in a lot of light. I'm running f5.6, which is, I could stick on a 50mm lens and run f1.8 or 1.4 and run ISO 800 probably with this low a light. But let's just see what it does at f5.6, because I need the depth of field that the f5.6 provides. So we'll try that, and I think that's really probably a pretty decent looking light. Our next light's going to be, well, we're going to experiment a little bit here. There was my light setup. See the scrim on my left here, and I was using this artboard reflector to actually reduce the direct light from that track light up there. Well, I've got one pointing at me. It's kind of blinding me here. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. I've got way overexposing my picture. I got it on a set at manual exposure. Okay, here's my next light setup. This is in a 12-inch old style light. You could buy these years ago. This is the Acme brand I got, and usually Smith Victor would be what you get today if you was going to buy something like this new. And it would come with like a fluorescent light or an LED light. I used to use these with 500-watt blue bulbs. The problem with those lights, they only lasted about 7 or 8 hours. I had a whole box of them, but they kept popping off at half an hour into a shoot or something. So you could use them 500-watt bulbs. Some people, you could put a 300-watt tungsten colored, which is about 3,000 temperature bulb in them, and I think those were rated for possibly closer to 20 hours. But they produced a lot of heat and took a lot of power. What I've done, and we've used this in the last couple of years, these are some LED grow lights. They produce about 1,600 lumens, which is about like a 100-watt bulb, but it's in a focused deal here, and they're daylight balanced. So we'll set the camera up for that, and we'll experiment. When I first recorded this segment, I totally messed up. I forgot to turn off the track lights, and so we're doing this over. You won't see the other, but I've got that grow light. That's a plant grow light, but it's daylight balanced. So I have the temperature color temperature of the camera set at daylight. I didn't set the individual degrees or anything. It's just daylight. But the lumens, we're talking, 570 or so. And then that direction, 158. I have this light pointing 45 degrees up and down. So you can see it really creates a harsh shadow. It really kind of almost blinds me. It's so pointed. And this fill light on this side, I have it bouncing into a artboard just outside my hand. And we'll get a picture of that later. But you can see some fairly harsh shadows. But it allows an ISO of 800. Probably fairly accurate. I'm surprised these grow lights, they're fairly color accurate. But let's hold up the gray card. See, if I point that way, see how dark it is. And if I point it this way, it's a lot brighter. But as soon as I snap my fingers, we're going to go in the editor and color balance according to the gray card here. Okay, so now you probably saw a small shift in color. Tell me if that's improved on your monitor. That should be as good as it gets. I don't have really good color accurate monitors. They're just cheap PC monitors I'm using. One showed a little more green than the other. I'm using two monitors and they're not perfect. They're different monitors, different brands. So they're not calibrated like I should probably have them. But we're going to see what this looks like. Okay, here you can see the two lights set up. I got that light on the right bouncing off that artboard, and the other light just coming directly onto my table there. Okay, here's the setup. Same lights, but I put that scrim in front of it, and now you can probably see how much softer it is. And on my fill light side here, my shadow side, I did away with the reflector that was fairly close to me, and I'm just shooting the light into the wall and let it bounce off, so it's got a bigger distance. So the lux, I'm getting like 175 towards this light and about 75 from the shadow side. So it's giving me a nice feel of the shadows, and it's really soft light. It's probably going to work a lot better. But what I had to do, I had to jump up to 3200 ISO. But it's a lot more pleasing to my eyes. I'm not squinting quite as bad. I have trouble anyway with my eyes wanting to squint. They kind of droop down. Here's the this, and we'll click and do a white color balance. See if there's any change. It'll probably be minimal change. So that's really a easy setup, at least for one person. And I'll probably go with that. You know, I could set up an umbrella and all this, but it's easier just to bounce through that scrim. That's a big fold up, I believe it was 40 by 60 inches. And it folds up into a, a small round, and you can put white on it, gold, silver, or black. You can put black on this side to really cut down the light if you want to use it. It's really a reflector for outdoor use. But with that bracket, it makes it nice to put on a stand just in front of your light to really soften it up. What I've done now is stuck in incandescent bulbs. I got a 100 watt incandescent in this one and a 75 watt in the one that bounced off of. I thought I had a 100 watt in that, but I don't. I got a 75 there, 100 over here, and I've had to go up to ISO 8000. But the lux, we're down to 70 over here, about 35 over here. So we'll try our gray card. Now the good thing about incandescence or tungsten, can't even say it, tungsten, is the very accurate color. Some places won't use nothing but tungsten. So there I go again, tungsten, because of the accuracy. LEDs are going to have color spikes all over the place. And you can make them look halfway decent, but they're not that accurate. But let's go here. There it changed. I set the color white balance in the editor. I have the camera set at 2700. That's probably about what I had before. With what did I have at 2700? Oh, is those the track lights I had set on 2700, but now I have it set in 2700 with the tungsten. And this probably looks, or I say tungsten. I should probably just say incandescent. That's a little easier for me to say. People sometimes make fun of my language, but that's okay. Just an old farm boy. But this isn't a bad look, but we're having to run the ISO of the camera up so high that I might be starting to introduce some noise. I got one more light I'm going to play with here. Yeah, I think it's going to be not very good, but we'll see. Okay, what I've got here, and you might see it, might be kind of greenish color. I don't know, I'm just looking at my camera picture. I had to go ISO 5000. What it is a LED light in a small soft box that has a diffusion panel in front of it. I'll show a picture of that later. But I bought it off a gal in Wichita as a kit. A couple lights, well, 3 light stands, 2 of those soft boxes, but only one had a working LED light and the diffusion panel. So I'm just using the stands, about the only useful thing, except if maybe this light will work out pretty good in here. See what it looks like at ISO 5000. And for the fill, I moved that reflector. I'll show a picture here a little bit later of that. Just moved it real close here, so it's filling in some of the shadows. Might be a little bit overexposed. Let me go and reset that to ISO 3200 and see where I'm at. Is that a little better? That's ISO 3200. And let's do this. There, it's color corrected in the editor. And maybe this is all we need. I don't know. I could move this reflector. I'm going to try doing it here. Move it in to lighten up the shadows just a little bit. Extremely simple light. Well, what kind of lumens are we getting? Look like 175. That way, about 37 bouncing off the artboard reflector. So this might be just good enough. You know, when you look into the light, it makes, let me turn here just a little bit. You know, you kind of nice, but when you get this way, maybe it's a little harsh in shadows. Maybe theoretically on this side I should put up a silver reflector to reflect more light, but it'd be more specular. It would show up some hot spots in my face a little bit more. I think this softbox creates a probably a soft light, and it's okay. It's an LED, but I don't know how long this LED light will last. The other one in the kit quit working, so I didn't even get it. I wish I would have, because it had a bracket for the spokes to hold the softbox apart. So if I was going to use that other softbox, I'd have to make a centerpiece and put a regular LED lamp in it. But this may not be too bad. Run an ISO 3200, just something real simple. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you like as a light? Do you like the incandescence for the color accuracy? Do you like this one after I color corrected it? Do you like the grow lights in those parabolic reflectors with the scrim? That's probably my favorite. But this would be for sure the easiest to set up. The only problem is everything's cheap on this softbox setup. Even had to stretch the cord to get it to my outlet. I mean, they cheapen up on everything. So that's the way that goes. There's that soft box. Just you can see it's not real big. Then there's the reflector I used just to balance it. It's pretty close to that table I was sitting behind. But it's pretty dark in here. Camera even has a little hard time focusing.